By April 1915, a war that has been raging for over 8 months has become the deadliest in history. The Germans have quickly conquered the north of France and the French are barely avoiding a complete loss, so the situation is critical. After another successful fight, the Germans are going around the battlefield shooting any survivors that may be hiding. Gabriel wakes up and starts crawling over the bodies of his comrades to escape. When the Germans walk by, he pretends to be dead. A German body suddenly moves and tries to attack Gabriel, who quickly fights back and kills him with his own blade. At the moment the Germans see him moving, so Gabriel has to start running. The explosions keep bringing him down, but Gabriel never stops moving. Unfortunately, when he's about to reach his camp, he steps on a trap and a grenade explodes under him. Meanwhile, in a club in the Parisian suburbs, the Baron meets with Gruber to discuss a job. Gruber paid the Baron to find a secret lab but hasn't gotten any results yet. The Baron assures him that his agent is working on it but wants to know why this lab is so important. An angry Gruber refuses to reveal more and gives the Baron 24 hours to finish the job. In the military hospital, Gabriel is still alive but barely hanging in there. A doctor tells him that his wife has come to visit him, however Gabriel refuses to let her see him like this. The doctor gives him a picture of the family that his wife brought and Gabriel feels so guilty that he tries to look out the window to find her, only to fall in the process. In the evening, a group of mysterious scientists arrives at the hospital and Gabriel overhears the doctor arguing with them. Mart gives a patient an injection and the man's body shakes for several minutes before he collapses. Then Gabriel is given the same injection and his eyes turn black before he passes out. The scientists conclude he's compatible and take him away. Soon Gabriel and another patient arrive at the secret lab in the Great Mills of Paris. The scientists assure Gabriel that they'll fix him and let his wife know where he is. In the club, the crowd watches the deputy open a box to find a gun. He refuses to grab it, so Giselle starts talking right into his mind to force him. She asks him if he would die for love and controls his hand to put the gun against his head. After a countdown she forces him to pull the trigger, but nothing happens. Giselle then kisses him and opens her mouth to reveal a bullet, impressing the crowd with her magic trick. After the show, the Baron talks to Giselle to ask her to get the information he needs from the lab technician. Giselle isn't happy about this job but agrees to accelerate the process after the Baron gives her back her key. In the middle of the night, Gabriel wakes up because he hears someone screaming. He uses surgery tools to pick the lock and leaves his room, carefully sneaking around to avoid being seen. When he hears guards coming, he enters a random room and finds the body of the other patient. There's blood on his face and his veins are black. As Gabriel collapses from the shock, the scientists find him. The next morning, Giselle grabs a picture of a lab technician and starts using her powers, which turn her eyes black. She makes the man walk around the lab and look at a map of the building, which she quickly writes down. She also copies some information from some documents. When she tries to enter another room, the technician is blocked by a coworker because he doesn't have clearance. Giselle makes him apologize and ends the spell. Later the Baron checks on the information she obtained and sends it to Gruber. The next time Gabriel wakes up he's visited by Colonel Miro, the director of the lab. He explains that they tried to save the other patient but he couldn't handle the treatment. The lab is working on a serum with unique properties that could make Gabriel recover completely, but he must choose whether to take the risk or go home with a deformed face. If the serum works well on him, his body will be enhanced and he'll be sent to join an elite unit known as the Sentinels. Gabriel agrees to do the procedure, so he's taken to another room, where his body is strapped to a table. They inject the serum into his body and his veins turn black before he starts having seizures. The scientists lose hope and get ready to shoot him to put him out of his misery, but at that moment the seizures stop and the scientists notice that his heart has given out. Suddenly a team of German soldiers led by Gruber bursts into the building and starts killing scientists with guns and flamethrowers. Miro orders his people to collect all the important documents on the serum and evacuate, then he gets a book called Project Atlas from the safe. A guard tries to fight back, so Gruber grabs a scientist to use as a shield and shoots the guard down. Gruber also finds the lab tech who was used for the information leak and kills him. The Germans search all desks and drawers, but they can't find the serum-related documents. A soldier finds the two main scientists behind the formula and burns them down with a flamethrower. Meanwhile, Mart is hiding under Gabriel's table. A German soldier comes in and stabs the body just in case. Suddenly Gabriel wakes up with black eyes and grabs the soldier by the neck, squeezing until he kills him. Soon more soldiers come in but the table is empty. Gabriel appears behind them and a soldier tries to beat him up, but he easily overpowers him. The other soldiers manage to shoot Gabriel a couple of times, yet this isn't enough to stop him. He proceeds to beat them all up with enhanced reflexes and strength that even lets him break columns and furniture. Once all the enemies are down, Mart tries to approach him, only for Gabriel to grab her by the neck too. Thankfully he snaps out of it just in time to let her go. A few hours later, the Germans are gone and Miro realizes the whole project has been destroyed. Gabriel is unconscious but stable, yet Miro sends a messenger to inform Gabriel's wife Irene that he passed away. In his dreams, Gabriel sees a mysterious German soldier who turns around asking, "Who are you?" He then wakes up with black eyes again. In a fort in Germany, this mysterious soldier is informed of the results of the mission. When he's told that there's a new sentinel, he says he already sensed his presence. Sometime later Miro chats with a general from the military, who confirms that there was a mole in the project. Their services have intercepted a German message that has given them the name Gruber, so the sentinels must get ready to find him. In the meantime Mart checks on Gabriel's injuries and notices how quickly he's healing. He says he isn't in any pain and that he doesn't remember much about the attack, so he apologizes to her. Mart assures him that it's a common side effect of the serum and takes a blood sample. Looking at his tattoos, she realizes he spent some time in jail. When Gabriel is mostly healed, Miro announces that he'll be transferred to the Sentinels camp. Gabriel wants to see his family before leaving, but Miro explains they believe he's dead. The Sentinels project is a secret and civilians can't know about it. Once the war ends, Gabriel will be allowed to see them again. Gabriel is angry about this, so Miro points out that the Germans could put his family in danger and that refusing to keep the secret would make him a deserter. In the lab, Mart is running some tests with Gabriel's blood and discovers that his cells absorb the serum, when actually the body is supposed to expel it every few hours. She calls Miro and tells him about the anomaly, saying Gabriel shouldn't go on missions yet. At the same time Captain Bonifond arrives to start an investigation that could lead them to the mole, so he interrogates everyone and asks about the Atlas project. In the city, Giselle is visited by her secret boyfriend Louis. He wants them to run away together, but she is afraid to escape the Baron's control. A neighbor hears a man in Giselle's room and the truth comes out. At the club, the Baron angrily threatens Louis with a blade for messing with a woman he considers his, telling him to leave the city without contacting Giselle again. Later the Baron meets with Gruber and gives him a French ambulance plus fake papers so they can go through the military checkpoints. Meanwhile Irene is frustrated because she isn't allowed to see her husband's body and people at the army hospital refuse to answer her calls. As a journalist she should be able to obtain a pass to visit that hospital, but her boss refuses to sign it. After work hours, Irene sneaks into her boss's office and uses his stamp to get the pass. At the Sentinels base, Gabriel meets his new teammates and is given a tour. Sergeant Bazak isn't impressed by Gabriel and warns him about the dangers of the serum. In private, Bazak deals with some unbearable pain in his hands. Then Gabriel is taken to the armory, where he discovers that Sentinels use special armor that covers their whole bodies. The helmet even has a special space to insert more serum that they'll breathe during fights. Soon the Sentinels receive news of Gruber's next movements, so they're ordered to capture him alive for interrogation. The team travels to a place in the woods and puts on their masks, which they fill with the serum. Gabriel feels dizzy for a moment but recovers quickly. At a private airport, Gruber gets on a Zeppelin to Berlin. A sentinel carefully sneaks onto the ceiling and throws a chain at a guard, quickly hanging him to kill him. The other guards open fire at him and this distraction allows a sniper sentinel to shoot them in the head. Another sentinel enters the Zeppelin and starts killing the guards while Gruber runs away. Outside, Gruber is about to get on a plane when Gabriel brings him down. He starts beating him up while the serum keeps messing with his mind, causing him to get more aggressive. Gabriel breaks Gruber's arm before throwing him at some boxes. As he starts suffering a terrible headache, Gabriel tries to kill Gruber, so another sentinel has to stop him. A fight between teammates ensues, but Gabriel is so strong that more sentinels have to join the battle. Thankfully this helps Gabriel calm down, and Gruber is captured. During the trip back, Gabriel keeps hearing a voice whispering his name. Suddenly he starts seeing visions of the mysterious soldier fighting on the battlefield. The man suddenly turns around and tells Gabriel that he's been waiting for someone like him. Sometime later Gabriel has a dream about the mysterious soldier attacking a French camp. When he wakes up, his eyes are black. That day Mart comes to the Sentinel base to check on everyone's health. Bazak's test results aren't very good but he insists he's fine. When it's Gabriel's turn, his physical tests come out fine, but he admits to hearing voices and having visions. Mart reveals she's been looking into Gabriel's family history and informs him that his father is dead. Gabriel is glad to hear this because when he was a kid, his father killed his mother while he watched. Mart thinks that Gabriel's bottled anger may be causing him to lose control nowadays. Later Mart reports to Miro and asks if he's heard about the serum causing visions before. Miro denies it too quickly even though Mart remembers some now dead scientists mentioning it. Afterward Miro interrogates Gruber, who refuses to talk. Miro's right hand Etienne begins torturing Gruber for information, but Gruber has been trained to deal with pain. He only tells Miro to check the front lines. The interrogation is interrupted by Bonifond, who announces that Gruber's under the jurisdiction of the police so he's his prisoner. At the club, Giselle confronts the Baron about Louis. The Baron swears that Louis left because he found a better job but Giselle doesn't believe him. Her anger causes lights to flicker and objects in the room to shake. As her eyes turn black, a glass explodes. Giselle calls the Baron out for trying to control her life and leaves. In the evening, the Sentinels have a little party to deal with the stress. However Gabriel keeps getting dizzy and hearing the voices. Visions of the super soldier brutally killing French fighters flood his mind and Gabriel holds on to the sink so tightly that he cracks it. When he returns to the party, he learns that the other Sentinels smoke leftover serum, which is less strong. Gabriel sneaks out of the building and takes a bike, intending to visit his family. However his new friends stop him so he won't get in trouble. While Bonifant gets ready to interrogate Gruber with a special torture machine, the Baron is informed of Gruber's capture. He rushes to Giselle and asks her to stop Gruber from giving out their names. Gruber tells Bonifant that his mole owns a bar on the outskirts but nobody knows his real name. Before he can say more, Giselle kills him with her power. This close contact with death causes her to have a breakdown. Later she's trying to put herself together and the maid comes to check on her. Giselle gets annoyed and almost kills her with her power, but she releases her at the last second. Thinking about Gruber's words, Miro tells Etienne to investigate the front lines. They learn that there's been no news from the 105th unit, so they send out the sentinels. When they make it to the front lines, they find all the French soldiers dead in the most gruesome ways. Bodies are missing their heads, limbs, or were left hanging on the walls. Gabriel gets a headache and starts seeing visions of the mysterious soldier killing everyone here. Inside a building they find a survivor who explains that he was mind-controlled by an enemy. The soldiers tried to shoot him but the bullets did nothing. He says that this mysterious man had amazing strength and metal armor like the sentinels. The voice in Gabriel's head tells him he's from the race of Titans and soon he'll join him. At the army hospital, Irene asks about her husband and the doctor assures her that he didn't suffer. When she asks to see the body, she's ignored. Later at home, she's visited by a nurse who tells her that the doctor lied and mentions Miro's name. Irene's boss wants to fire her for faking the pass, but she convinces him that her brave attitude can bring the more dangerous stories to the newspaper. Sometime later Miro takes the new information to his superiors in the army. Pictures have been acquired that confirm the presence of the mysterious German soldier in the trenches. He's so strong that he attacks alone. They need to stop him before they lose the war, so they send the sentinels after him. At the office Bonifant tells Miro about Gruber's autopsy report, explaining that his heart appears to be crushed. Bonifant is frustrated because none of the scientists wants to share information and all the files for the year 1905 are missing, but Miro refuses to answer his questions too. Meanwhile Mart meets a new young soldier who got a bullet removed from his lung and has volunteered for the program. He's strapped to a table and given the injection, so soon his body starts convulsing. When blood begins to pour out of his mouth, Mart has no choice but to shoot him in the head for mercy. At the club, the Baron is informed that the cops are raiding the suburbs and asking about Gruber. He tells his employees not to worry because he has it under control and promises he won't work with the Germans anymore. In private, Louis meets with Giselle and shows her the fake papers he's acquired. He asks her to be ready to leave in an hour. In the trenches of Coudray Forest, the sentinels find a few French soldiers. They've been stuck there for a while without news from the base. The sentinels ask for directions to a factory in the area and the soldiers warn them not to go there because there's a bloodthirsty demon that kills anyone who gets too close. After explaining that they're here to kill that demon and getting a short rest, the sentinels keep moving. Eventually the group makes it to an abandoned factory and finds bodies hanging everywhere. Suddenly the super soldier opens fire from the shadows so the sentinels run to take cover and fire back. The gunfight goes on for several minutes so the team agrees to split. Some of the sentinels keep the enemy distracted with more shots while the others try to surprise him from behind. Unfortunately their opponent sees them coming and fires at them too. Soon all the serum in the helmet causes Bazak to collapse and he starts puking blood. He tells his team to continue without him while he takes a break to recover. His hands start shaking so a few hits are needed to get it under control. This delay gives the mysterious soldier time to hide. Behind a big machine, they find a stabbed French soldier who is still alive. Suddenly the enemy takes control of the man's mind and forces him to activate a grenade. A big explosion goes off, tossing back half of the team. As Gabriel tries to recover, he has a vision of the mysterious soldier approaching a teammate from behind. He yells to warn him but he's too far away. The enemy attacks the sentinel and a vicious fight ensues, but no matter how much the sentinel tries, the mysterious soldier is too strong and throws him over the railing. Then he pulls out a double blade and stabs him in the back, which Gabriel can see in his vision. The mysterious soldier throws the body from a tower before disappearing and the sentinels get to say a final goodbye to their friend before he dies in Bazak's arms. Later at the base, the fallen sentinel is given a proper funeral. However, the higher-ups still refuse to contact the family, saying it'll be done after the war is over. Bazak privately thanks his teammates for not telling their bosses about his collapse. Meanwhile, Miro informs his superiors that the mysterious soldier has mind control abilities, which they used to see in Project Atlas. Miro is told to keep the secret for now since Bonifant is still snooping around. Bonifant is currently trying to understand the code from Gruber's notebook and notices that the last page mentions a material delivery connected to the lab raid. He asks Etienne about it, but the man swears nothing was missing after the attack. Afterward he takes a closer look at the burnt body of the lead scientist and notices some irregularities in his teeth. He calls Miro and informs him that this isn't the body of the scientist who invented the serum. The Germans kidnapped him and left another body behind to trick them. At the club, the Baron discovers that Giselle has disappeared with her things and sends his people to find her. Soon he receives a report saying that all the information Louis gave them about himself when they hired him is fake. He wonders if his act was a trap to get Giselle all along. Meanwhile, Louis can only get tickets for a ship that leaves in 2 days, so he and Giselle hide in an abandoned apartment. Louis keeps Giselle docile by secretly putting a sedative in her drink. In the city, Irene meets with a journalist who shares a story he covered many years ago. A man with bloodshot eyes killed dozens of people in the street and was shot down by the police. The body disappeared in the morgue and the journalist found out it was Miro who took it. The journalist tried to investigate Miro too, but from 1905 onwards there are no records of him. He can only give Irene the name of an eyewitness. After seeing his friend die without his family knowing, Gabriel decides to sneak out in the middle of the night. He drives all the way to his old apartment and gets the hidden key to go inside. Ignoring Irene's aunt sleeping on the couch, Gabriel goes to talk to his child in the crib. At that moment Irene comes back, so Gabriel stays hidden while she talks to her aunt. When Irene leaves, Gabriel follows her through the city. He steals a hat and a mask from a sleeping hobo to cover his face. Irene goes to a shady neighborhood and enters a bar to talk to the eyewitness, who tells her about the crazy killer. He had supernatural strength and tattoos all over his body. After the interview is over, Irene tries to leave, but a man keeps harassing her. Gabriel immediately cuts in and forces the guy to leave. Irene wants to talk to him, however Gabriel quickly leaves the bar. As Gabriel crosses the road under the bridge, the harasser and his gang block him and bring him down. While they remove his mask, Gabriel feels dizzy and has a vision of the mysterious soldier. Suddenly he snaps and starts beating the gang up. He loses control and ends up killing most of them. The harasser tries to crawl away and Gabriel is reminded of how the mysterious soldier killed his teammate. As if in a trance, Gabriel copies the enemy's moves to kill this man too. In the lab, Mart is doing some tests when she hears a strange noise. She grabs her gun before investigating, only to find Gabriel curled in a corner. Mart takes a sample of his blood while he shares what happened. He didn't take extra serum, so Mart wonders if his body is starting to secrete its own. Gabriel doesn't want to reunite with his family like this, so Mart promises to help him. At home, Irene tells her aunt that she thinks she saw Gabriel. Then she meets with a contact in the government who gives her the profiles of the soldiers who match the eyewitness description. He tried to investigate Miro too but had to quit because saying his name equals trouble. Irene takes the files to the eyewitness and she recognizes one of the pictures as the killer, but the file says he died before the incident. At the same time, Miro is informed that Gabriel's wife is snooping around. In the club, the Baron is approached by Diane, who has been chosen as Gruber's replacement. The Baron tries to explain that he doesn't work for the Germans anymore, but Diane changes his mind by promising to bring Giselle back as a reward. His new mission is to get information about the man depicted in a portrait they give him. At the apartment, Giselle wakes up and panics when she discovers she's tied to the bed. Now Louis tries to put the sedative directly in her mouth, and as soon as he comes close, Giselle tries to control his mind. However, the sedative is making her weak, so she fails, and Louis puts her to sleep again. Later, the Sentinels are given a new mission. They must rescue the scientist from the Germans. They've received intel saying he's being kept 108 kilometers behind German lines and he'll be transferred in 2 days. The army will bombard the area to create a distraction so the Sentinels can sneak in. Miro tells Gabriel in private that he knows about the murders, but if Gabriel brings back the scientist, he'll be forgiven. Eventually, the Sentinels make it to the front lines in Bois Léger. Unfortunately, they're informed that the scouts that were supposed to guide them have been killed, and the captain tried to cancel the mission to no avail. The soldiers are retreating, so the Sentinels get into the tunnel on their own. After crossing it, they make it to the trenches, where a soldier informs them that the Germans set up a machine gun 200 meters away. The Sentinels start to carefully cross the battlefield while waiting for the surprise attack, but nothing happens. They have no choice but to keep moving without the distraction. At that moment, a crazy French soldier stands in the middle of the field to yell at the Germans, forcing the Sentinels to hide while the enemy shoots the poor guy down. Afterward, they notice some German soldiers and a few machine guns. A Sentinel sneaks around to try to kill them from behind, but he's seen and the Germans open fire again. Gabriel and his friends fire back to bring down the men with the machine guns while their teammate kills any hiding opponents. When it's finally clear, he whistles so the others can join him. In the morning, 2 German soldiers stop their truck when they see a man blocking the road. Suddenly, the Sentinels surround them and knock them out to steal the vehicle. Meanwhile, the higher-ups in the military are afraid that Bonifond will discover all the project's secrets. Since the scientist has already been found, Bonifond is forced to close the investigation and inform that he'll be transferred to a new case. In a fort in Wolxheim, the French scientist Maza-Urich is visited in his cell by Maximilian, the German scientist who has been trying to recreate the serum. Maximilian knows that Maza-Urich would rather die than help the Germans, so he threatens to hurt his wife if he doesn't cooperate. Maza-Urich has no choice but to agree to help, so Maximilian takes him to meet the mysterious soldier. He finally removes his helmet while saying that Maza-Urich already knows him. The Sentinels are on their way to the fort when they find the road blocked by German soldiers. Most of the team hides while Clermont pretends to be German too, presenting the papers that he found in the truck. Unfortunately, the papers have expired and the Germans want to see the back of the truck. The Sentinels have no choice but to come out and open fire. Thanks to their enhanced reflexes, they quickly kill all the German soldiers in seconds, but Clermont gets shot in the process. In Paris, Irene meets with her contact again, and this time he's brought her Miro's file. This was so difficult for him that he announces that this is the last meeting. On her way home, Irene is approached by Etienne, who tells her to stop investigating or she'll get in trouble. In the meantime, a cop recognizes the Baron's portrait as Gabriel. The Baron buys Gabriel's file from the police and gives it to Diane, who promises news on Giselle soon. In the evening, the Baron tries to use a spell to find Giselle to no avail. At that moment he's informed that the Germans have finally found her. In the sewers, Louis is about to hand Giselle to the Germans, but at that moment the Baron and his guard arrive. They open fire and the Germans shoot a few bullets back before running away. Then the Baron shoots Louis in the leg and demands information, but Louis says he only took the money without getting any names. The Baron wants to kill him, however Giselle stops him. When they return to the club, Giselle uses her power to force Louis to self-delete. In the lab, Mart thinks she's made a breakthrough with the serum. She's interrupted by Miro, who informs her they've brought the next test subject. Her name is Arya and she was on death row for murder. She agrees to take the serum since it's her only chance to survive. Arya is strapped to the table and given the serum, so her body starts convulsing. The other scientists want to shoot her but Mart wants to wait. The body soon stops shaking and to everyone's surprise, Arya is still alive. Back to the Sentinels, they drive as fast as possible while keeping Claremont alive by feeding him more serum. When they see a house by the road, they burst inside and threaten the maid to keep her out of the way. Gabriel searches the other rooms just in case and is startled by a woman, causing his body to react aggressively. As he grabs her by the neck he remembers the incident with Mart and lets her go. Afterward Bazak tries to remove the bullet from Claremont's wound, but he's shaking too much. The maid volunteers to help and quickly gets the bullet while the men hold him down. A few hours later, Claremont is feeling better, but he's too weak to fight. Bazak tells him to go back while he and Gabriel continue with the mission. After driving for a while, the duo leaves the truck and continues on foot to avoid being heard. As they cross the forest Bazak starts feeling dizzy, but he insists they must keep going. By nighttime, they finally get close enough to the fort and have to carefully sneak around because of the guards in the area. They approach the building from behind and get suspicious when they don't find any security, but they move ahead anyway. Using a hole in the ceiling, the Sentinels go inside the fort. Unfortunately the mysterious soldier and his team are waiting for them in the tunnel and immediately capture them. Minutes later a chained-up Gabriel is visited by the super soldier, who explains he used to be part of Miro's Project Atlas. After taking off his helmet, the man grabs Gabriel by the hair and says they were able to survive the experiment, thanks to an anomaly in their blood. The serum was just the trigger. The super soldier promises to make Gabriel more powerful and puts a mask on his face, causing him to scream. Gabriel sees a vision of himself getting shot by French soldiers while his captor says that the army will want to kill him when they learn who he really is. The vision changes to show the super soldier as he asks Gabriel to team up. Sometime later, Bazak is brought to the same cell and finds Gabriel collapsed on the floor. The super soldier forces Gabriel to stand up, saying that he's being held back by his humanity. He then puts a blade in Gabriel's hand and tells him to kill Bazak. Gabriel falls to his knees as he tries to resist the mind control, but the super soldier is too strong and Gabriel ends up tackling his friend. Bazak keeps using words to try to reach Gabriel, who suddenly freezes. A vision of his wife appears behind him calling his name and Gabriel screams as he drops the blade without hurting Bazak. In the lab, Arya has used her new strength to escape the table and kill several scientists. Guards try to stop her in the corridor but she easily brings them down, showing amazing reflexes. More soldiers arrive to fight her, however Mart stops them from shooting. She talks to Arya with kindness, getting her to calm down. Later Miro is so impressed by how Arya is doing that Mart convinces him to give her access to the Project Atlas files. She's shocked to learn that in the beginning, hundreds of soldiers who didn't volunteer were killed in the experiment. When an urgent message arrives at the fort from Berlin, Bazak is handed over to a soldier who will take him to the border. To his shock, this soldier is Claremont undercover. In Gabriel's cell, Claremont puts the helmet on him and frees him. The group sneaks into a tunnel and brings down a few guards while asking about Mazayurik. A guard points in the right direction and the Sentinels continue to kill soldiers as they advance. They find Mazayurik in his cell and bring him out while more Germans appear to stop them. The alarm rings in the fort and the super soldier hears gunshots. A bomb explodes in the tunnel but it's not enough to stop the Sentinels, who keep advancing and bringing down enemies. A soldier manages to tackle Mazayurik, however Claremont quickly shoots the guy and rescues the scientist. The fight continues as they take the stairs and finally go outside, where even more soldiers are waiting for them. When they run out of ammo, they fight hand to hand and steal guns from their opponents. Most of the team makes it to the truck but Gabriel is stuck behind, so he throws a grenade at his enemies to distract them before jumping on the back of the truck to finally escape. When they return to the battlefield, the group leaves the truck and continues on foot. Gabriel keeps hearing the super soldier's voice and tells his friends that he's here. They decide that Claremont and Mazayurik will move ahead while Gabriel and Bazak stay to fight. Suddenly flames appear nearby and the super soldier shows himself. The duo puts on their helmets and fill them with the serum before making a big jump to start the fight. All three men show off their strength as they attack with all their might, however Bazak can't keep up and is quickly brought down. Gabriel keeps going and even manages to overpower the super soldier, who uses his power to overwhelm Gabriel's mind with visions of his friends dying. As Gabriel collapses, Bazak comes back for more. The super soldier quickly captures him, so Bazak triggers a mine and the explosion sends them both flying. Sadly, Bazak loses an arm in the process. The super soldier steps on the wound and gets ready to kill him, but at that moment Gabriel uses his power to control the man's mind. After some struggle, he manages to bring him down and proceeds to stab him in the neck. Bazak helps him move and together they decapitate him. The group successfully returns to the base and Bazak congratulates Gabriel for gaining control of his powers. He points out that nobody will dare to mess with him after this and perhaps he can reunite with his family. Gabriel sees an opportunity and sneaks out again. Meanwhile, Marthe secretly meets with Bonifant. She's tired of Miro's inhumane experiments, so she agrees to help Bonifant catch him. In Paris, Etienne enters Irene's apartment and finds her bleeding on the floor. It turns out the Baron's men have already been there and kidnapped the baby, who is now being handed to Diane. When Gabriel finally makes it home, he finds Irene dead on the floor. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.